Okay, so you're already using Arrow's sales rooms, but how do you know if they're actually working? Because Arrow syncs all of your sales room data, including how your customers are using them, the activity levels, everything like that, into HubSpot, you can actually set up reports along with all of your other deal data to really track how effective your sales rooms are. That means you're not measuring sales room impact in a totally separate tool. You're actually managing it inside HubSpot alongside all of your other sales reports to see how effective they are and how effective your team is at actually using them. So in this video, I'm going to show you 9 different sales room reports that you can set up to track how your prospects are actually using them, how your team is using them, and the effectiveness of sales rooms by showing you your team's performance on deals with sales rooms and without. Let's get into it. All right, so here's our dashboard in HubSpot. This is a dashboard specifically for sales rooms. So all of these reports are going to cover data from Arrows about what's happening in the sales rooms. I'm going to do a really quick overview of each one so you can see kind of what information it'll give you. And then we'll link a guide with all of the different reports, including all the setup instructions so that you can set these up yourself in HubSpot. Okay, so one of my favorite things and one of my favorite data points that we can sync into HubSpot from Arrows is your activity levels. So you can set inside your Arrows sales room how you want to measure these activities, and you can decide what is considered engaged, hot, or stalled. And then for each sales room that's connected to a deal, we're syncing that data point back in. And so you can track in any way you want, but this is just an example of tracking all of your deals in different stages in your pipeline, along with the sales room engagement level. So I can see here, I've got an exploration stage in my sales pipeline, and we have one deal with a sales room that is unopened. We have 3 that are stalled, 3 that are hot, and 3 that are engaged. And then obviously inside HubSpot, you can click into these and you can actually see exactly what's happening and which deals these are. Another thing that people really want to report on is how effective are our sales rooms at closing bigger deals, closing them faster. And so these are 2 reports that you can set up. Basically, they're identical reports, but we are tracking with sales rooms and without. So if you have a certain segment of your sales reps or certain types of buyers that you are sending sales rooms to, you can set these up so that you can track different data points. In this example, we're showing average days to close, average amount in company currency, and the total amount in company currency. So we can compare that with sales rooms. We had a much faster average days to close. We had a higher average deal size, and obviously the total sum was much higher than we had without sales rooms. So this is just a really great kind of overview to see how are our sales rooms performing versus any deals where sales rooms are not involved. Okay, next, this is going to show any deals that are active in your sales pipeline along with the total views. So you can see here we've got quite a variance. So our top has 45 deals. So I can tell as a sales rep, they're really engaged. They probably have multiple stakeholders that are involved. So this is a deal that feels likely to move forward because they're so engaged. Whereas you can see on the low end, we've got a couple that only have 1 or 2 views. And so they maybe are earlier or less engaged. And so I need to really find a way to nudge them and get them back into the sales room, give them more resources so that they continue to move forward in the buying process. All right, this is another report that you can set up, and you could set up one with sales rooms or one without, but this is basically just tracking the average days to close with sales rooms month over month. So I think this is a really good one to track if you want to see if you make changes to your sales room templates, or if you add different content and you want to see, is that helping us? Is the new content that we're adding, maybe you're doing a big push to show more social proof or add more case studies, does adding that actually decrease your time to closed won? And so you can start tracking that in this report here too. Okay, so now we're going to look at all open deals with no recent engagement. So in this example, we just have a list of all of the deals where they have not viewed it for a while. And so you can set whatever threshold you want here. I probably set a couple of weeks. So if they have not been active in their sales room, but they're still an open deal, there's probably something going on and they're not engaging as much. And so this is one that we really want to flag so that our team can go in and see what needs to be done. Do we need to escalate this? Or are they just a closed loss deal that's not moving forward? So inside this report, we're showing the deal name, deal owner, deal stage, amount, and then these are the 2 data points that we're syncing in and showing. So the last viewed timestamp. So what was the day that this room was last viewed, and what are the total amount of views in the room? We've also got a list here of active deals with no sales room attached. So if you are aiming for 100% of your team using sales rooms for all of their deals, this will just flag if someone forgot to, or if someone didn't attach a sales room to a deal. This will show all of them, and then you can nudge them or set up an alert to let people know that they need to add a sales room after the demo's held. Okay, now this one is getting into total views per sales rep. So you can start to kind of see, are people using sales rooms in better ways? So in this example, I have the highest views. So maybe Maybe someone would want to come and talk to me and say, hey, how are you using sales rooms that you are getting more views? And maybe look into some of the other analytics with my sales rooms to see, do I have more stakeholders involved in my deals? Do I just have fewer stakeholders, but those stakeholders are viewing it more, maybe because I have really good resources, or I'm maybe adding more comments to the sales room. And so people are engaging with that more often. So I think this just starts to give you a sense of, oh, there's one person who is clearly, or a couple people who are clearly getting more views. So what is happening in those sales rooms? And then can we replicate that behavior across all of our sales reps? Okay. And then last two, this is tracking sales room adoption by sales reps. So in this report, we're looking at all active deals and we're just tracking, do they have a sales room or do they not? So you can see here, I am the one who does not have a sales room attached for 2 of my deals. So again, if you're aiming for 100% adoption rate for your sales team to be using sales rooms, this is exactly how you track it. So you can flag, again, if there's no sales room attached here, come and talk to Kim or whoever it is and say, hey, what's going on? Can we get those attached? Or is there a reason why you're not using sales rooms for these deals? Okay, now this is an interesting one. You could get pretty creative with how you want to set this up. But what I was trying to get at here is, can we start to track if there are more stakeholders involved in the buying process, does that increase our close rates? So one of the data points that we are syncing into HubSpot from Arrows is how many unique viewers there are. And so what I did is I set up a workflow separately to kind of bucket the amount of viewers there are. So we've got buckets of 0 visitors, 1 visitor, 2 to 4 visitors, 5 to 9, and 10 to 14. So we're also tracking this by closed won and closed loss. So these are only deals that were closed. And so we can start to track the trends of, in this report here, we can see that actually, yeah, having multiple stakeholders and more unique visitors accessing the sales room does lead to a higher close rate versus obviously if we have 0 visitors to the sales room, they probably were not that engaged and were not likely to move forward from the start. And if this starts looking true for your deals as well, then you can start to know what to coach your team on. We know that having multiple stakeholders involved help increase our win rate. And so this gives you a really good indicator on who was involved. Were they forwarding this on to other people on their team? How many people were interested in this? And if that is proven to increase your win rate, then that's something you can coach the rest of your team on too. All right. You might have noticed that at the beginning of the video, I said I was going to show you 9 reports and that was actually 10. So you got a nice little bonus in there. And I'm going to include these steps for each of these reports in the Arrows Vault. So there's a link included here. Go to that link. They're all ungated. You can access all of them. So as long as you have your Arrows data points from sales rooms syncing into HubSpot, you'll be able to set up all of these reports. Let us know if there are any other reports that you want to see, and hopefully we can record another video to show you how.